Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for staying with Politics Tonight. I've been speaking with Dr. Bosun Tijani, Honorable Minister of Communications and Digital Economy. And tonight we're discussing how Nigeria, under President Bola Tinubu, will attain collective prosperity. Honorable Minister, thank you so much for staying with us. Now, we understand that you launched a research grant focused on the use of artificial intelligence. What is the idea behind this?
Well, so I think the idea behind it, again, is recognizing that as a nation, we've always been interested in finding ways to, one, diversify our economy, but also raise the level of productivity across key sectors in our economy as well. And for those who may not understand, I think artificial intelligence oftentimes sounds like something that is far away and is alien, only for developing countries. But the reality of artificial intelligence is that it offers humanity the opportunity to be able to use large body of data to take informed decisions. So data sets that humanity has not been able to use in the past, we can now use them effectively. What we're doing is saying, while we may not have all the best resources to put behind this, that we have the talent in our people. There are Nigerians at the forefront of artificial intelligence, both locally and also globally as well. And the best thing we can do is to provide resources for them to help us find smart ways to apply artificial intelligence in critical sectors in our economy. So we've launched this scheme. We've now, I think we got about over 3,000 applications. We've decided to fund 45 of them. These 45 that we're funding cut across sectors like public health, education, agriculture, which is now a very significant and important sector for our nation. And our hope is that as we start to deploy the resources to this research grant, which is being led by both academic researchers, but also a lot of technology startups as well, that we will start to see some of these solutions being applied in these critical sectors, and thereby helping us to raise the level of productivity as well. This is why we've put these resources into the funding of artificial intelligence in Nigeria.
Honorable Minister, you would agree with me that 45 out of 3,000 is poor and quite low. So also, what is the progress of the grantees and what practical solutions are they expected to come up with in their various fields?
In the innovation world, 45 is not low. When you get 3,000 applications, funding 45 means you're looking for the best of the best, right, that you want to place a bet on. And we can already see some of these organizations building solutions around cancer detection, for instance, but they're doing it with specific consideration for the reality of special genes and culture, but also way of life as well. We have some solutions that are focused on personalized learning, helping to improve how learners can get access to the information that they need based on their needs by taking advantage of resources that exist across board. We have some solutions in agriculture, which is now a sector, again, that the president has been pushing actively since inauguration. And some of those solutions in agriculture includes using precision farming solutions to help improve outputs of our farmers. Some of them are focused on better detection of pests, even before they can wreak damage on farms. So we see them cut across key aspects of those critical sectors that we want to see. And we're extremely excited because, again, not only are we asking these researchers and startups to come up with these solutions, we're also demanding that they document their findings appropriately. Because some of the ways in which nations are rated when it comes to research is through publication. And when we publish, we can, as a nation, become one of those leading countries in AI. And by becoming one of those leading countries, then we can attract investment into the development of artificial intelligence in Nigeria. So we're very intentional about how we're deploying these resources, and we're very hopeful that it will have significant implications and impact on our economy.
But also, how much support are you receiving from agencies, civil servants, and other partners and stakeholders as you work to achieve these strategic objectives?
Absolutely, significant support. So the AI funding or research scheme is being led by NITDA, which is the IT Development Agency. The funding is also coming from them as well. The research side of the project is actually being led by Lagos Business School. So Lagos Business School is the research manager, ensuring that each of the 45 projects report appropriately. So government is not just the only one working on it. Ensuring the reports appropriately. Also ensuring that we can set up a special edition in a well-recognized global journal as well, and that's where a lot of the publications will go into. So all the support is coming in. We're also in good conversation with a lot of the large technology companies in Nigeria, the likes of Microsoft, AWS, also Meta, Google, are also being updated on a lot of this development just to see where collaboration may exist and where these companies can also leverage the ecosystem of these larger technology companies as well.
Now, some months ago, you revealed that Nigeria has joined 100 million global partnerships to leverage artificial intelligence. And this fund is to support local expertise. How do you identify those innovators who really need this fund?
No, for that partnership is actually something that is being led by the UK government, and they're putting significant resources into it. The goal of that is actually to fund PhD researchers. As you know, artificial intelligence is an emerging field that is growing really quickly. Would like to see more Nigerians also participate in the research community around AI. And that's why we've joined this, which is fully funded by the UK government. And our hope and aspiration is that more Nigerians will get the opportunity to receive scholarship from this fund, to actually study, to research, not necessarily study, as a PhD researcher, focus on AI and machine learning as well. The more we increase the pool of talents that we have in AI and machine learning, the better it's going to be for us to be able to participate and compete globally as well. Because this is a set of technologies that we will not be able to do without as a country and also globally as well.
Let's talk about policy, which is the second pillar. I would like to know the kind of policies in place to encourage investment, encourage research and development, especially the protection of intellectual property.
I think Nigeria has done quite well around policies, actually. When you look at the last minister, did amazingly well in terms of policy formulation for the sector. I think there were close to 25 or so policies that were produced under the last minister. Some of them include things around the digital economy, the blockchain policy. We had the Startup Act, which was a major breakthrough. But then what we've recognized under this administration is that we would like to take that work forward because it is not enough to have these policies in place. We must ensure the implementation of the policies because that's only when it's going to translate into results and value for our economy. And because the president is extremely focused on economic outcomes, it is important that we don't just come up with policies, that we also focus on the implementation of our policies. So for instance, the artificial intelligence policy or strategies that was formulated, we're now reimagining that. We're bringing in April, second week of April, we're bringing about 120 top academic researchers together, some from Nigeria and about 60 or so from all over the world. Most of these people are of Nigerian descent, but they are the very highest level of artificial intelligence based on the way they've been selected. And they will all come to Abuja and help us reimagine our AI policy to ensure that the AI policies are not just policies or strategy on paper, but they are policies that are focused on our ability to also execute and implement on them. So we're going to be looking at how do we build the talent that can really help us leapfrog application of AI. What sort of partnerships do we need to develop to be able to realize our dreams around artificial intelligence? But also, how do we protect ourselves around this emerging technology, which has both good and bad side as well? So they'll help us look at the governance issues and ethics around it as well. So this government is doing policies differently, and our goal is to ensure that we continue to do policies to really have direct implications and impact on positive outcomes that we want to see in our country.
All right, let's stay on intellectual property. I mean, there's been several complaints recently. If you look at the three main legislation that govern and protect intellectual property rights, which are the Copyright Act, which was just amended, but for the Patents and Designs Act, as well as the Trademarks Act, I mean, stakeholders say these laws have been weakened over time and need to be strengthened. Is the federal government looking in this direction?
No, absolutely. That's not under my remit directly, so I can't speak to the detail. But when you look at the Startup Act of our ministry, part of the goal for the Startup Act is to also ensure that people can come up with inventions and innovations and be able to appropriately monetize or commercialize them. And that goal, I believe, is under the Ministry of Science and Technology. Nigeria has always had laws around intellectual property management. I don't think those laws are weak. And I know that the Startup Act that we have will leverage on those existing laws to ensure that it can properly be implemented. Like I mentioned earlier, when it comes to policy, our biggest challenge in the country is not the formulation of policy, it's actually the implementation of them. And that's why we've set up the Startup Act. The Startup Act, in essence, is to support especially smaller companies that will struggle to be able to benefit from the implementation of a lot of this policy, to be able to support them to actually benefit, to be able to support them to do business both with the private sector but also with governments as well. And that's how we're managing that from the Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy.
Right. Let's talk about data, Honorable Minister. Nigeria since independence has had challenges in the areas of data availability. Even when they're available, they're mostly inaccurate. And we all know that research, analysis, forecast, and economic predictions are impossible without available and accurate data over a specific area of interest. Under your watch, what should Nigerians expect on data accessibility?
I think the responsibility for improving the quality of our data is that of many organizations, including the Bureau of Statistics, for instance. And if we're following carefully, I think everyone can attest to the fact that we've seen tremendous progress over the last probably 10 years from the MBS, both from the formal statistician general and the current one who happened to be at an event with me yesterday. They've been doing fantastic job to ensure that we continue to improve the quality of our data, but also that we continue to improve how we put the data to good use. But from our ministry, we have the understanding that you can't really transform government services with technology if you're not making the most of your data. And making the most of your data requires that you're able to collect them appropriately, which means you're collecting quality and accurate data sets, but you're also able to store these data sets, and when needed, you're able to put them to good use. And what we're doing at the ministry, which is part of our goal for transforming government services, it's actually around building a system for data exchange in government. How do we ensure that different ministries and development and departments and agencies are able to seamlessly share the data that they collect? When we give birth to kids, for instance, how do we ensure that Ministry of Health is able to store that data appropriately, and when needed, Ministry of Education is able to access that data. Ministry of Humanitarian is able to see that data when necessary. The police is able to see that data. The need for data exchange in government, it's quite critical at this time, because that's the only way that we can truly drive transformation of government services. It's the only way we can truly empower ourselves to have a big picture of what the country is like and how we must deploy our resources to be able to meet the needs of our people, but also our development agenda as well. So what we're doing at the ministry is under what we call the data public infrastructure. We are actually focusing strongly on what we call data exchange, which is to build a framework and system that would allow for different MDAs to be able to share data seamlessly, thereby empowering them to gain access to insight and knowledge that they need for policy formulation, but also implementation of a lot of the programs that government is putting forward as well.
Recently stressed the need for growth in the sector through technology and innovation. For you, how ready is the country?
Oh, no, I think this is what we need to also start to change about our country. Of course, when you look at Nigeria, you may wonder whether this is a country, particularly on the public sector side, that is ready for technology. But the truth is that the Nigerian government has actually been investing in technology for a long time. So we have a set of success stories around the use of technology. The exercise for the registration of NIN was a bit hard on some people, but the reality is that it's been extremely successful. It's one of the most successful digital identity systems in the world. Where now a significant number, I think about 90% of adults in Nigeria have now been identified, I believe so. And that gives us the opportunity as government, but also the private sector, to be able to do business with the knowledge of the people they're dealing with in society. Also, Nigeria has been extremely successful with the TSA. In government managing finances through a single account system. That's something that is also well spoken about. The NIBS, which is the interbank settlement system, is one of the best in the world. It's well spoken about, well developed and robust system that works really well. So when you look at the government, there's been successes when it comes to application of technology. The challenge, however, that we have is that these successes are in silos. The application of technology in government historically in Nigeria has been in silos. The responsibility and the mandate that this government is taking on is to ensure that we can begin to connect these different silos so that we have a single whole of government approach to technology, because that's when technology will then start to really yield the opportunities that we want to see. When you talk about digital public infrastructure, three things are often spoken about as the core, and that's digital identity, payment, single payment system, and the third one is data exchange. Nigeria already has digital identity in place. We have a single payment solution in TSA, right, which is something that has been already extremely successful. The only thing we don't have at the minute is data exchange, and that's why we're prioritizing that within this government. Once we're able to put a strong data exchange system in place, you will have a government that has a unified approach to technology applications, and that will then empower government to be able to deliver better services to our people and also use our resources more optimally as well. So I'll say Nigeria is more than ready. I think we just need to bring these different pieces together to really form that single approach that we need to see in government.
All right. No doubt, the government has invested a lot in technology. For instance, NIN, but we're yet to reap the expected benefits of NIN in security. What exactly is the problem?
So NIN is not under my ministry, so there's little to what I can say about it, but I have a fair knowledge of it as well. And I think it would be unfair for us to say we're yet to reap the benefits. There's actually been significant benefit of NIN. NIMC has contributed significantly to the private sector because it's now a lot easier for companies to automatically identify the identity of people that they're dealing with in Nigeria. But that's not something everyday Nigerian will see. When you apply to most services and they ask for your NIN, what they're doing at the back is confirming that the person they're dealing with is actually the person that they claim they are. And without the work that NIMC has done, it would have been impossible for these companies to do that. The security agencies will not tell you how many people they've been able to identify using the NIN or using the NIMC system. It's a system that has been extremely successful. It's even used for our social welfare program to a large extent, where a lot of the people who benefit from it are often identified from this database. There's still more work to be done to ensure that the NIN becomes the standard, and there is the need for us to start to think of harmonization of the different identity systems. You have the NIN, you have the BVN, you have the National Population Commission. There's an opportunity there for us to start to harmonize that so that we can have a single way of identifying our people. But the NIN has been one successful program that, of course, we can improve upon, but we should never talk it down.
It's left for some Nigerians to align with what you just said. But then, what more should Nigerians expect in your quest to boosting digital economy?
I think what we're going to see, and in everything I've said, is clarity in our approach to the deployment of technology to help raise the level of productivity across our economy. clarity in our approach to leverage the human capital that we have. Remember, Nigeria is the country with over 60% of our population under the age of 25. So we do understand the power that we have there and the capital that we have in these young people, which is why this government is investing heavily in 3MTT to ensure that we can leverage that opportunity that we have there, the youth budge, to actually create value for our economy. So you will see that happening over the next coming months and years. That investment is going to continue. We have clarity that when we invest in the infrastructure for digital economy in Nigeria, that it will give us the opportunity to raise the level of GDP in our country. So you're going to see a lot of focus on that as well. You're also going to start to notice policies that are focused on implementation, not just policies on paper, but policies that are focused on actually changing the lives of Nigerians. You started seeing this. The programs that we've already delivered in the ministry in just 6 months of the appointment, there are over 10 programs that have been running in just 6 months. And a lot of these programs are programs that are touching on the lives of people. And these are beyond policy-related activities. These are actual interventions that are out there. I think over the next couple of years, our digital economy, which has been contributing between 18 to 18%, will continue to grow significantly. We expect that this growth will probably add about another 2 or 3 numbers to it, taking it to about 21 or 22% before the end of this, the first term of this administration.
All right, and we wish you the very best. But before I let you go tonight, how much support are you getting from President Bola Tinubu?
You've seen everything I've said so far. I've been talking about the president. I think I'm extremely fortunate to work under his leadership because the president has strong clarity on the role of technology in society. He's done this in Lagos State. He's constantly pushing. When I go to him for a conversation, not only am I telling him what we're trying to do, he has a lot of input to give as well based on his experience. And he's extremely supportive. For those who know, the president is a very pro-business president. I'll give a quick example. Late last year in December, there's a new company that came and they wanted to bring a submarine cable. Submarine cable is the cable that actually serves internet to nations, to Nigeria. And they said it was important for them to be able to land that cable in record time, because if it takes a long time for them to land the cable on our shores, it will cost them much more money. And I took them to the president, and the president right there approved for them to lay the to lay the submarine cable. The submarine cable is now landed in Lagos and Uyo. And this is why we're still connected to the internet today, because there's been a cut in the sea. But Nigeria has now 9 submarine cables, so we have backup cables. That's why we still have internet, while so many other African countries, because of what happened yesterday, are currently cut off. But we are not.
All right. Interesting conversation. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, Honorable Minister of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy. Honorable, I do apologize, Dr. Bosun Tijani. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you. We appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Olajimake.